You know, this is all your fault.
How is it my fault?
Well, actually, it's half your fault.
What?
You guys always showing up in Toronto and wrecking our good time.
The Blue Jackets?
Close. Italians.
Let's go!
Do you have a humiliation kit?
This is all I ask you to do.
I'm having a great
Finger flick.
You're allowed to show up.
This team is ruining my life. I'm taking crazy pills.
With you, wherever you are, welcome to LFR. Leafs lose 5-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets on home ice. But don't worry, if it makes you feel any better, if the playoffs started today, the matchup would be the Leafs versus the Columbus Blue Jackets on home ice. And it was the Italians leading the way for the Blue Jackets. Adam Fantilli with his first career NHL hat trick. Luca Del Belbaluz with his second of the season. Now, I'm not 100% sure he's Italian, but I looked up the origin and I found one that said Italian and another that said Del Belbaluz is most commonly found in Canada, which is the most Italian thing ever. And of course, a goal by Jimmy Van Riemsdyk. He chew with the mouth, God, he scored the goal. I couldn't even get through it. That's really stupid. And so is this game! Now, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I don't like the term getting goalied. I think it is heavily overused. It is a thing, but it is not a thing nearly as often as people think it is. For the uninitiated, getting goalied is when you simply get goalied. When you are the better team, the far better team, you get far more shots, you get far more scoring chances, but the other team's goalie stands on their skull and brain. Now, you can get goalied in the other direction, and that's when your goalie isn't very good, like at all. The reason I hate the term getting goalied, or at least I think it is very overused, is it lets the team off the hook. It lets the rest of the team just, oh yeah, you're blameless. Don't worry, blame it all on the goalie. There's 18 skaters out there, but you know what? We're gonna pin it on the goalie. Or sometimes the Leafs will get like 40, 50 shots against the opposing team's goalie, and people just throw their hands up and go, well, they got goalied. Okay, wait. How many of those shots were legitimate scoring chances, though? Because I counted like 2. That's why I think it's lazy. It's a crutch. I don't like it. It's also a crutch of people who are like, oh, what's the big deal? Not William Nylander. He gets a pass. I'm talking about like people who watch the games who are like, what's the big deal? You know that fan stands for fanatic, right? I'm a fan. Everything's a big deal. That's why I refer to that other group as people who watch the game, because there are people who watch the game as a fan and just civilians. Because yeah, you're watching the games too, but you're not chewing your skin and nails off your fingers like the rest of us. Terrible habit. I'm trying. Now, all of that being said, the Leafs got goalied. The Leafs got double goalied in this one. Dennis Hildeby was not nearly good enough, and Elvis Merzlikins stood on his skull and brain. The man was laughing. The man was dancing during the whistles. The man stole Austin Matthews' stick out of his hand. The man was congratulating his goalposts. Those are all things that verbatim literally happened. And then Dennis Hildeby allowed 4 goals on 19 shots, which the Leafs held him to 19 shots. The most amount of shots the Columbus Blue Jackets got in a single period in this game was 7! 7, 5, and 7. Garbage! That should be enough to win a game! At least force the thing to OT! Now listen, it does happen. If you go back and watch the McDavid-Garland stuff from that Oilers-Canucks game, if you look up at the score bug and ignore all the people doing dentistry on each other, you'll see that the Oilers only have 15 shots! That's with 20 seconds left in the game! It's a miracle they were only down 1 with an empty net. Are you kidding? But the reason I am not breaking these things down goal by goal by goal is Elvis Merzlikins was spectacular. He made a few really good saves on really good scoring chances. The Blue Jackets did do a good job of blocking shots as well, but they had to because the Leafs were running them into the ground, and they got a few posts to help them out as well, hence the congratulations. Whereas Dennis Hildeby, I'm cheering for him, aren't you? I think we're all, I'm cheering for him. It's not just that the puck goes in. With a young goaltender, you want to see how they play. From the moment I saw Joseph Woll play, whether the puck went past him or through him or not, I'm like, okay, he is generally goalie shaped though. Like he behaves like a goalie. He is one of those cookie cutter, perfectly positioned goaltenders that the American program just keeps churning out these days. Anthony Stolarz, you might have forgotten because he hasn't played in a while, Totally different goalie. Ridiculously athletic for a guy his size, and he needs to be because he is city TV everywhere. He's not cookie cutter like the kinds of cookies that you find neatly placed into sleeves in a box. He's cookie cutter like the kind of cookie you'll find in a Toronto coffee shop that allows dogs and sells art. Which is a compliment, by the way. Those cookies are huge and tasty, but you can't put them in a box. You put them in my mouth. What I'm saying is those guys are really good in different ways. Then there's Dennis Hildeby. And I hate to pin a game and wag my finger at, I don't think anyone should be ripping into Dennis Hildeby. Yes, he is in the NHL. Yes, he's been given this opportunity. The dude is your rookie third stringer. Wasn't even supposed to be your third stringer. And after tonight, probably shouldn't be. Matt Murray is playing great in the minors. I didn't love what I saw out of him in that one game in the NHL, but I love what I'm seeing out of him in the minors. He had back-to-back shutouts this past weekend. Guy is playing well. The guy is the veteran NHL goalie who they signed to be the third string goaltender. He wasn't playing great. Hildeby was playing a little bit better. They send Murray down. They call Hildeby back up and he fills in when he needs to. That's fine. But now I think I'd like Dennis to be playing games, man. In the minors, by the way. For the next little bit, have the Marlies tandem be Hildeby and Akhtimov. Akhtimov, who's cooled off a little bit himself. The reason I talk about Joseph Woll and Anthony Stoller's styles is Hildeby is somehow the worst of the both of them. Pros, he's huge. He is huge, and he has a track record of success. It's not like this guy is irredeemable. He won a championship in Sweden. He was an all-star in the AHL last year. This guy has a track record of success in professional hockey as a goalie. But the dude is all over the place, everywhere. The movements are big for nothing. He's going nowhere and everywhere at breakneck speed. He's not tracking the thing well. And the speed of the game just seems miles beyond him right now. And if a young goalie doesn't seem fully developed right now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. There was a goalie I remember years ago. He was with the Minnesota Wild, and I watched him, and I was like, this kid's unusable. One year he had a .905 save percentage. The starting goalie had a .936. A few years later, he had a .902 save percentage. The team starting goalie had a .923. By the way, you're hearing .905 and .902 and you're like, hey, that's not bad. No. This was a few years ago when that was really bad. That was like below league average for sure. Now it's like, wow, you stopped 5 in a row. Here's a multi-year contract. But I watched this goalie and then he went to another team and he got even worse. And I'm like, dude, how does this guy keep playing? And then one day it just clicked and his numbers went off and they were crazy. And he was sought after and he cost a lot in a trade, big time. And then the team that traded for him won the Stanley Cup. Congratulations if you guessed who the goalie is before I actually named them. Darcy Kemper. The dude was playing NHL games like roughly Dennis Hildeby's age, like 22. And he probably shouldn't have been. And sometimes that comes with some struggles. And sometimes the team gives up on you. And sometimes you figure it out. But one thing's for sure, Hildeby's not going to figure it out if they just keep throwing him out there in NHL games he's not ready for and getting lit up like a Christmas tree. Did the defense in front of him do a sterling job? No. I mean, Austin Matthews was -3. He also had the team's only goal. Jake McCabe was a team worst -3, at least on defense. Morgan Riley looked lost a handful of times out there for the Leafs. But the Blue Jackets, for all they did to help out Merzlikins in this game, were the second best team at everything. At basically everything. This wasn't one of those games where the Leafs fire 40 muffins on the opposing goalie and we go, gosh, well, there was nothing they could have done. No, they had grade A scoring chances, one after the other, and Merzlikins kept stopping them. I do want to talk about one thing, though, because I'm dying to know what you guys are thinking about this. As you know, there was a massive fight right at the beginning of the game. It's Ryan Reeves against Matthew Olivier, and if you don't know who this guy is, he's actually extremely underrated and kind of a big part of what Columbus is doing this season. He's the toughest fighter in the league, in my opinion. There's a conversation of 5 guys, and he's at the top of it. He fought Arbor Jacki twice this year, probably beat him both times. That is a ridiculous person to choose to have to be your first fight of the season. He's also double digits in goal scoring and can kill penalties. Oh, and he wears a letter for the team as an assistant captain. Not bad for an undrafted 27-year-old playing out of Biloxi, Mississippi, who played in, you guessed it, the QMJHL. What? Oh my god, I was just cruising around his HockeyDB page. You'll never guess what I landed on. Because Olivier was originally a Nashville Predator. How'd he get to Columbus? Was he traded? Yes. June 30th, 2022, Matthew Olivier was traded from the Nashville Predators to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 4th-round pick in 2022. That 4th-round pick, Dennis Hildeby. How? Oh, now I gotta do a trade tree. People keep asking for them. I'll be honest, I don't know if I'm allowed, but I want to do them. Anyway, getting sidetracked. Matthew Olivier and Ryan Reeves dropped the gloves as I allow my 4-year-old to watch the first 10 minutes of the game like I usually do. This was, He asked why they're fighting, and I just, everyone thinks they know what they're gonna say, and dude, like that wasn't just a wrestling match. Those dudes threw like, 40, 50 punches? Anyway, I'll deal with that in the morning. Ryan Reeves and Matthew Olivier throw bombs at each other. One after the other. And other than a little slip up near the beginning of the fight, Revo, old late 30s dude, end of his career, hasn't fought this season. I thought did great against a guy who I am fully prepared to call the toughest nut in the NHL right now. And Ryan Reeves, by the way, I thought had a pretty good game. There were a lot of guys on the Leafs who had really good games. Reeves, he nearly had a breakaway goal. But after the game, interestingly, Austin Matthews, only goal scorer in this game, and team captain, by the way, had this to say about the fight and the reaction to it.
Yeah, it was great. Obviously, I mean, that's still a big part of the game, and he's a big part of this team, and you love to see that. Would have liked a little more energy, from the crowd after that. I thought, it was a little quiet tonight, especially after, a guy, two guys like that go at it. But it was, I think, a great moment for him. I thought gave us some energy on the bench.
Okay, that's a little juicier. It's like sneaky juicy, right? Now, some people are not going to love that. Because yeah, Scotiabank Arena has a reputation for being a quiet barn. There was a video posted recently of Curtis from Alberta. He's a big boisterous Leafs fan, and he's sitting in the 100s, and he's trying to get everyone riled up, and they're just not having it. Hockey Illuminati is another account. He often goes to Leafs games, and he was doing a sketch where he's reading a book. It pops. When it pops loud. In the playoffs, or when they're in a big comeback or something. Toronto is one of those buildings where it's like, all right, we'll cheer, but give us something. They're not just going to get behind you to get behind you. And the number one complaint from the average fan is, yeah, well, it's suits. It's full of suits. For the Bay Street business elites who drink their wine and eat their sushi and have quiet little quaint business meetings with clients while the ruffians duke it out on the ice behind them. Because their back is facing the game, obviously. And they might say, hey, screw you. I paid $250, $300, $400, $500 per seat to be here tonight. Hey, Austin, I noticed you were getting 15, 14 million every July 1st in signing bonuses. I don't see you complaining for that. Who do you think writes those checks? Oh, what were you tonight? Let me see. Oh, it was a -3. Thanks for coming out. And I'm sure some people are going to look at it like that. I don't look at it like that at all. There's something kind of funny going on with Austin Matthews this season. To me, this is one of those moments where he's trying to become, or he's flexing his muscle at being Leafs captain. He's got 9 goals in his last 10 games. Like, he's absolutely red, scorching hot. But he did that last year. He already does that. He's one of the best goal scorers in the world. He already does that. He did that last year, 69 goals. And John Tavares was the captain. He wore a letter, but he wasn't captain. What was the story of this game? Who was everyone coming for? They're coming for Dennis Hildeby. They're coming for the rookie goalie. They're coming for Morgan Rielly, another one of the leaders on this team. In recent memory, the Leafs won 5 straight games, then lost 3 straight, and during the course of those 3 straight losses got booed on home ice at least twice. Then they rattle off 3 straight wins again, and they lay an egg in this one. And I don't know if it's frustration, like this fan base is impossible to please, or what, but Matthews is taking the heat off of all those guys and putting it on him. He's also putting a little shine on Ryan Reeves, who has, metaphorically, taken it on the chin recently, and after that Montreal thing. Jack-Eye doesn't want to fight him while down 3-0. Jack-Eye hits him, and Ryan Reaves just gets up and doesn't do anything. And even though the Leafs came back and we're all happy about it, we're sort of looking at the lineup after the game and we're going, we don't need Ryan Reaves at all, do we? And dude, I don't know what the numbers were for Ryan Reaves after this game, but by my eye, that was one of the best games of the season for him. Not just because of the fight was crazy, but the effort, the forecheck, the scoring chance in this game. I thought he was a decent factor on that fourth line. And this is his captain trying to get us to see that, to acknowledge that. I'm fascinated to know what you think of those comments, because I think some of you are going to hate them and some of you are going to love them. Let me know what you think in the comment box down below. Quick questions. 5 goals on 19 shots. Is that good? No. Where is Jani Hakanpää? Yeah, that guy's like a Leaf, sort of. By the way, there's a potential, because he was named to Team Finland for the Four Nation Faceoff. It's possible that by the end of the Four Nation Faceoff, Jani Hakanpää will have played more games for Team Finland than the Leafs this year. If we're talking calendar year 2025, he has played 0. I think the Leafs would like him to come back, but we're running out of runway here. Was at the game tonight. Luca Del Belbelou's friends and family were behind me. Couldn't help but be happy for them. Oh, that's the worst. No, let me be mad. Dude, that's such a good story. The Blue Jackets are such an inspiring story, and I think at the beginning of the season, didn't we all kind of want this? We didn't want them to beat our team, but we all wanted better for the Blue Jackets. Dude, they're even missing guys right now. Like, Monahan's out of the lineup. Kent Johnston is cold, and he's been really good. Look at Zach Werenski's stats. They're stupid. Dude has 15 goals and over 50 points as a D-man. He's probably, honestly, if he played for a Canadian team, the Norris buzz would be so much louder. And his team's in a playoff spot, but that's for another. Blue Jackets, man, great story. And currently, playoff team. How about them Jackets? I noticed you guys weren't throwing the body until it was either too late or didn't matter in a play. Is that a player problem or a coaching problem? There were definitely a few times they passed up hits when they probably should have hit. The Leafs still, painfully, even under Berube, sometimes need to be reminded to do that part of the game. But I think the simple explanation is they always had the puck. Like, the whole time they had the puck. You can't hit when you have the puck. Well, it's hard. Listen, they won 3 straight, and they were a fun 3 straight. In this one, you got goalied at one end and goalied at the other. I think you rip this up, you take the next couple days off, and you head into Hockey Night in Canada against a ravenously hungry Ottawa Senators team. That one's going to be stupid. And to tell you what, starting goaltender in net, you're rested, you better be better. Because a lot of fans are going to give you a pass on this one, but you're not allowed to have 2 of those in a row. Let me know what you think about the Matthews comments down below, but for now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. Hey, if you listened to today's Steve Dangle podcast already, you're in luck. We're recording another one tomorrow. It's a special Thursday edition of the SDP.